Hi, and welcome to the explanation for PT11 Game 3. Pretty tough in and out game. We've got this little wrinkle added to it with a chairperson, so we'll discuss how to handle that. First things first, we've got this housing committee, right? And it's going to consist of exactly 5 representatives, and then the rest are going to be out. There's no other place to put them. So we know it's an in and out game. We want to start with just getting these 2 groups here. And what about the people? We have subcategories, so we want to handle that with subscript as we usually do. First, we've got our tenants, F, G, J, K, and M. And we can label those all as T, tenants. And then we've got P, Q, R, and S, and they're homeowners. They say one person's going to be the chairperson here. You're not quite sure what that means or how it's going to play out. When that happens, just do the game and set aside that information for a bit, right? And as the game unfolds, you'll get a better idea of what they're trying to do with that. So for another condition here, you have 2 representatives from each group, and there's 5 total in here. So I want my 5 lines, and then I can mark this with subscript that I already know 2 are going to be tenants, and 2 will be homeowners. And an advanced game player here is going to think, okay, well, what does that mean for the outside? This one's going to be either H or T. We don't know yet. But we do know, for example, that at least 2 T's are out. At most, you could get 3 T's in here. So let's get that on the outside. And then at least one person who's out is going to be a homeowner. With the chairperson thing, you could have just put one line and be like, this will be where I put the chairperson, but I don't think that's helpful yet because we have no idea what makes you the chairperson. They only give us one rule about it. The chairperson must be whatever group they pick exactly 2 from. So say you have an H up here, well, the chairperson's going to be one of the T's. So we'll just label that later when we figure it out. We'll put a little C next to it, and that way we can designate the chairperson as needed. Now, as far as rules, we've got conditional rules. If you look, though, none of them chain up. So there's no real reason to use the 2 chains technique here. If you want still, though, to be consistent with your diagramming, we can put the contrapositives on either side of a line. So F, then Q, contrapositive, not Q, then not F, G, then K, and we're talking about the in group here, so if G's in, then K's in. K out, then G out as well. Now, if J is or M is selected, then the other one must be as well. So that's a biconditional, right? J, then M, and then the contrapositive of that is going to be not J, then not M, and that goes both ways. Not M, then not J as well. Remember, biconditionals are reversible, so it doesn't matter that you flip the order. Then we have one last rule. M and P can't both be selected. So what that means is that when you see M, you don't see P, and when you see P, you don't see M. If you want, you can put the more visual reminder, M and P can't be together. Okay, so that's the rules. Still no idea how to handle this chairperson thing, really. What are they going to use that for? We'll just wait and see. Okay, let's do an acceptability question just to change things up a little. I know we usually skip those because they're too easy, but just take your rules one at a time, see where they eliminate any answer choices. So F then Q. Okay, so for these answer choices, wherever you see F, you're just going to have to see Q. So we see that on A, we see that on B, C, and then the rule just isn't triggered on D and E, so that doesn't help us get rid of anything. We move on to the next rule, G then K. Yeah, that helps us eliminate A. Now, if we see either of J or M, we need to see them both in, so that gets rid of B for us. The M not P rule gets rid of E. And then you know that the only thing left to look at is this 2 tenants or 2 housing violating these rules about where those guys can go. And looking at answer choice C, that's got all 4 housing people, which would violate that rule about needing 2 tenants in there. So we're left with D as the right answer. Okay, for 13, we got to figure out 3 representatives who could be selected together for the committee. So how about F, G, and J? F, G, and J is impossible, and we start to realize a potential theme here. If you select 2 others, you can't select J or M, right? Because then you're going to bring in 4 total. Like, say you selected J now, that's going to bring in M. You have 4 tenants, which is going to violate this distribution rule here. So A is out. FGM, same problem there. It would bring in 4 tenants. Eliminate that. How about FJM? Well, FJM looks a little better, right? If you wanted to get at this by elimination, which is sometimes actually slightly faster, let's look at GJK here. Again, it's the same problem. J is going to bring in M, and then you'd have 4 tenants, GJKM. So we can eliminate that. And GJM is the same problem. So that might have actually been the slightly faster way to do that elimination rather than checking that this was the right answer. These all were eliminated because of the same theme, bringing too many tenants in. Okay, for 14, M is the chairperson of the committee, right? So now we know that only 2 people are tenants, right? M can go in this tenant spot. Let's designate it as the chairperson. And then this here is going to be an H. We just know it now. So we need 3 H's. And then P is out, right? M in, then P out. We see that rule right here. So then the rest of these people from the housing committee have to be on. Q, R, and S. And that's a lot of work. I'm going to see if I answer the question, who must also be on the committee? I scan down the answer choices and I see R right there and E. Boom, already got that one. Okay, for 15, F is the chairperson. So if F's the chairperson, there's only 2 people from the tenant side. So we know this is going to be an H. And it gets tricky just looking at this right away. Say we bring G in. Well, that brings K in as well. We can't have that. Then there's too many tenants. Say we bring J or M in, then the other one's in, right? So the only person we can bring in is K. And the rest of these tenants have to be on the outside. J, M, and then lastly we need G out. So with that work, I want to see if I've answered the question, who must also be on the committee? I already figured out K has to be in there. Scan for it in the answer choices. There it is in B. Perfect. Okay, for 16, F is selected. We don't know that they're the chairperson, and we got to figure out who else could be the chairperson. There's a lot of possibilities here, so I don't, think there's anything we can do except take a look at each answer choice here. So we need to find somebody who could not then be the chairperson. Well, what about G? Yeah, if G comes in, then it brings K in as well, right? 3 tenants. So there's no way now that G can be chairperson because we have 3 tenants total, and when we have a chairperson, that needs to be coming from the side where we only have 2. So luckily they give us A as the first answer choice right there. And A is correct. Okay, if F and K are out, so F, K are going on the outside, we got to figure out something that could be true, right? So F and K are out. What does that tell us? Well, when K is out, then G is out as well, right? So that's 3 tenants out. Now we know that the tenants are the chair people and that we're going to have 3 H's in there, right? So looking at that, it's going to be J and M on the inside. This is already a lot of work, so let's see if we could maybe answer the question looking at the answer choices. So what could be true? G is selected? Nope. How about P is selected? No, they have to be out. That's another call we can make there because when M's in, P is out. In fact, now we can just fill in the groups here, right? This is going to be Q, R, S, and we're super easy to just finish this off. How about J is the chairperson? Yeah, that could be true, right? J is from the group of 2. So nothing wrong there. Whereas Q can't be the chairperson, neither can S. Okay, 18. If the chairperson of the committee is a homeowner, right? So that means 2 homeowners, and then we're going to have 3 tenants. What must be true? And when they give you conditional statements in the answer choices, there's nothing you can do besides just check each answer. So that you know each answer choice, and you know that's going to be a hard question that's going to take a lot of time. So depending on time management, you may want to take a look at where you're at and just go on to the next game if you've been really struggling here. But if you have the time to do it, you're going to have to do it one at a time. Okay, so let's look at this one. If G is selected, then Q is also selected. So let's put G in and see if we can make this false. Put G in as a tenant, put Q out as a homeowner. Now F has to be out, right? Because if it was not, then Q would come in. Now let's just try to make an order that works. Maybe we get J and M in, kick P out into the homeowner side, and just have R and S in over here, and K on the outside. And it works fine. Everything worked fine here, no problems. 18 is the right answer. A is the right answer. Now in 19, if you were doing this, you would have the benefit of all of your work, right? Typically, when you're doing these games, you don't erase anything you do. I have to because I have limited space, right? So that work would really help you test these out. It was actually kind of more common to have this style question back on older tests where previous work could really help you out. We don't have that, so we'll just take a look at the right answer here. The committee must at least include representatives from which of the following pairs. So the correct answer here turns out to be C. You can't have both K and Q out. Q is a homeowner, K is a tenant. If K is out, you can't have G come in, right? So G will be on the outside as well. But then F is also out, because if F came in, then Q would be out. And now all of a sudden, we only have J and M left for the inside, right? And then the problem is P is going to come in, right? All of these now have to come in, Q, R, and S, because there's no more tenants, but then this violates this rule right here. So we can't throw both of those out. That would be the correct way to test any of these. Just start by putting them both out. They're asking who's a pair that at least one of them has to be in. So if they cannot both be out, we know at least one of them has to be in. Q and K cannot both be out, so that's the right answer we're looking for. Okay, thanks for being here. See you on the next game.